Maybe you're seeing a lot of pistols in Warzone as of lately. Maybe you're like me and prefer the firepower of versatility in the way of SMG or rifle play with a sniper on your back so that you can take any engagement at any distance, and you're trying to find a reason that maybe you're seeing so many pistols. Today, I want to talk to you about the growing pistol meta because, believe it or not, handguns are growing in popularity, and from a sheer damage output perspective, yeah, they're actually a solid choice. In some cases, absolutely unrivaled in close quarter situations. So today, I want to share with you my thoughts, some preferences, and some builds that you can utilize in an aggressive style of play to absolutely dominate. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think we'll be seeing a pistol nerf in the near future, potentially in Warzone? Do you think that maybe we'll see this meta take over more than it already has? Whatever your thoughts, drop them down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone content on a daily basis. But that said, let's jump into it. Firstly, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't notice this meta in-game for a little bit of time now. It was something that, admittedly, I wasn't really too fond of, but at the same time, I didn't really ever consider it to be much of a viable playstyle for me. I'm a bit more methodical of a player. I think my squad and I that I normally run with could regularly pull 15 to 20 kill games each, but my mind gravitates more so towards the win, and thus perhaps sacrifices the kill aspect a bit, bringing it down to maybe the average of 10-ish kills a game, but a higher consistency of wins that seats me just shy of the 100 that I have at the moment. That methodical thought process, though, is what I really have always kind of gravitated towards and have a certain set meta of play because of that, and I'm sure you've seen that throughout the class setup videos. I'm primarily an overkill rifle or SMG and sniper player so that I can challenge basically any sort of engagement that the situation calls for. I'm able to challenge something with an SMG or a rifle, or maybe I can pick off a player at a distance with a sniper, but it also affords me the ability to dip into cover and abandon a gunfight perhaps at range that doesn't seem worth it, and not risking the game as a result. The pistol meta is about the exact opposite of that. You're likely playing close range to medium range at max, so you're all in on engagements. Sometimes that's fine, but others you may not know if you're going to have a third or fourth team pushing you to pinch you when you can't dip out at all, so you're all in on that, kind of putting all your chips in on one hand. Naturally, when you do that, you're going to take a bit more heat and thus die a bit more. So kind of always adhering to that more evenly distributed style of play so that I could play for that win, I never really gave this style a huge chance. But that's where, as of recently, I've had to shift my focus. For those that don't follow streaming or competitive tournaments or anything like that, there's currently a Challenger series happening in Warzone in partnership with Chipotle and Call of Duty. So my squad of Ink Slasher, Immortal, and Lazy and I decided, what the hell, let's give it a shot. Worst that could happen is that we don't win and we get some streaming content out of it, but best thing that could happen is we get free burritos for a year. But here's the thing, the tournament series is based upon a point system that is 1 point per kill and 5 points per win. So realistically, a win is a nice icing on the cake, but kills are way more prioritized than what you should be going for in game. So that warrants a complete shift in playstyle because, as we just mentioned, I predominantly like winning. If we can do both, that's sick, but instead of a well-balanced playstyle, we want to overwhelm the enemies and get in, kill, loot, and get out as fast as possible and move on to another engagement to repeat that process. And that's where this meta comes into play. In our practice runs for strategies for our qualifier, which is this Tuesday, and I will be streaming it, so if you want to check it out, the Twitch link is down there in the description below. To go over to my channel if you want to check out our squad fighting for our burrito dreams, but I adopted a high-action loadout that I totally understand why it's so relevant now. The akimbo snake shot and akimbo Renettis in Warzone are borderline cheating. Obviously it's not, but the painted picture that they're stupid good is entirely clear. If you get in close quarter situations, so long as you have the drop on the enemy and you're accurate, you're winning that gunfight, no questions asked. What makes the snake shot such a great option is that you're sacrificing a bit of damage range, sure, but you're gaining so much more in the way of damage radius, making that spread much wider, thus inflicting more damage in a hip fire position as opposed to normal. And naturally, if you have akimbo, you're only going to be hip firing. But you add in 2 of these beasts and firing at once, you can kiss the enemies goodnight because it's lights out. Thing is, the snake shot range really isn't even that bad that you sacrifice for. I had a few engagements where maybe I put 8 total shots into enemies, so 4 shots on each pistol, but they were at ranges that I really shouldn't be winning gunfights at when it comes to pistol play as is. Close quarters, though, that's where you're shredding through enemies. The best clip that comes to mind when I mention this comes down to one that may, just because of the way that I edit this video, you might see again here with this because it might not be a part of the specific gameplay that's going on in the background, switching and mixing and matching games. But there was a game where Lazy and I were trying to clutch up a win, which thankfully we did, but I pushed a bounty after he thirsted Immortal, and I didn't realize that there were 2 of them. Now, in the bunkers of Mill Base, where there's no escape, there's no way I should win a 2v1 gunfight of people mounted on a wall shooting down at me, right? But just watch this.
And
4 shots total to down both enemies. Break armor in the first pop, down in the second. What else has such a low amount of shots to kill and a time to kill that low? Not much, and up close, this thing will absolutely decimate your entire existence. So I can rave about how much this has helped my aggressive style of play so much because, again, it's guaranteed kills almost if you can get up close and personal with an enemy. But let's talk a little about some loadouts here for this so that if you want to try it out, you can. On the Akimbo 357s, I run the 357 long barrel, the 5 milliwatt laser, the Akimbo weapon perk, obviously, snake shot, again, obviously, and the match grade trigger. Now, the 357 long barrel is something that increases damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control with a slight loss in the ADS speed and movement speed. But realistically, since we're not ADSing, you only lose one thing on that, and that's movement speed, which is very little to begin with. The 5 milliwatt laser increases that hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed, but has the lasers visible to enemies. Though if you do use this properly, by the time they see the lasers, they're going to the gulag or back to the main menu screen. The match grade trigger increases the fire rate and aiming stability with a slight loss to hip fire accuracy, but that's where we end up throwing our 5 milliwatt laser in there to end up balancing that out a little bit. This one is probably pretty close to what you see a lot within your regular matches if you come in contact with the 357 and the snake shot. But another one that is an incredibly viable option in terms of pistol play comes down to the Renetti, and that is one that the Renetti with the burst mod is actually insane as is, but again, you toss on Akimbo, you make it double the trouble. For that one, I'd recommend running the Desperado Pro Compensator, though this one is interchangeable. If you want some better hip fire accuracy, you can put a 5 milliwatt laser on this as well in place of that, but you want to make sure you have the MK3 burst modification on the barrel, the lightweight trigger, or the match grade trigger if you have it ranked up all the way, and the 27 round magazine modification. The Desperado Pro Compensator increases recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability, but again, we don't really care too much for that ADS speed since we're using Akimbo, or you could end up, of course, running the 5 milliwatt laser, which again increases the hip fire accuracy or sprint to fire speed, but with the laser visible to enemies. The burst mod increases the fire rate and, of course, the 3-round burst modification aspect of it. The trigger modification comes down to the fire rate and recoil control depending on which one you want, and then the 27 round magazine is, of course, just giving you more ammunition per magazine, which of course is great for challenging some gunfights. Now, truth be told, what I absolutely love about this and why it works so great is that you do focus just on simply that slaying ability. To be able to track down an enemy, farm bounties, just go after every player possible. And what's nice is that once you get this loadout, you don't have to take any compromises. You don't have to do anything where we've talked about before, you get one loadout and then when that free one comes in at the 1st or 5th wave, you can end up changing out your perks to get your weapons plus whatever perks you end up wanting. This you can end up running my preferred loadout of cold-blooded, ghost, and tracker, and I don't need to wait for a second loadout to trade that overkill for what would then be ghost. I can just have it right there. So there's no compromising. You can get right in the action right away and not really have to worry too much about being spotted on, say, a UAV or a heartbeat sensor. And so therefore, the way that my squad's been playing it and that I've been taking it is that we'll end up doing a bounty very quickly, landing somewhere where there's either cash or a bounty that we can get cashed real quick, get our loadout within the first 3 minutes, and then just go to town. Because the quicker you get your loadout, the quicker you'll be able to take advantage of players that don't quite have those means to fight back all that much, and you can just run through enemies. And it's a great way to rack up kills and play that aggressive style. But like we said, it is more so just for that aggressive style. If you are like how I normally am, you like to play a little bit more methodically, you like to think about the engagements, you like to take it maybe at a distance where you have that ability to dip out and into cover, this may not be the best style of play to take, but if you want that action, if you want to try something different, right now is as good a time as any because you'll definitely see this is currently the meta. So realistically, I guess that's kind of all I have to say here with this and kind of all that I wanted to touch on, but really just wanted to talk about the pistol meta because as of recently, again, I didn't really understand the interest in it, but having now shifted a little bit, I can see it's absolutely a viable option of play. So that said, I think we're going to wrap it up. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. 100% yes, this is not the most preferred meta to go up against. I said at the beginning of the video, I hate it, and I even titled my stream title yesterday that I lived long enough to see myself become the villain, but in all actuality, it is something that if you're going straight up for kills, that's what it's good at, like it or not. So if you want to try it out, absolutely go ahead, try that out. I usually run a Growler and MP7 with the Akimbo snake shots or the Akimbo Renettis with, again, those perks of cold-blooded, ghost, and tracker, and I usually run a C4 and a stun with that, but try it out if you guys are interested. But let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Do you think that we'll see a nerf to pistols? feels? Do you think that we'll see the meta continue to grow? How do you think this will go here in the next couple of weeks? Love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. But hopefully enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, meta discussion like this. We'll of course have you covered here on the channel, so make sure you're here for all of it. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practice on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.